Welcome back to the Fuel Show. Still to come, we're going to take a look at the Honda Accord EX, and we're going to visit IPD for our In the Pit segment. We first saw the GS 450h appear in showrooms in the spring of this year. The original GS was the first Lexus built with the world market in mind, and Lexus is very proud of the fact that the GS 450h is the world's first hybrid sports sedan. But does it deserve the Lexus nameplate? Well, Dennis and Ian take a first look at the 2007 Lexus GS 450h.
Thanks, Nick. Now, Q Factor's first up for the GS 450h from Lexus. Now you add in a 330-watt Mark Levinson audio system, parking assist, and that gas-electric hybrid engine. You can't help but boost the Q Factor score.
I want to love that motor so bad. I really do. I got in it and I thought, oh, 340 horsepower, instant torque. And then I got in it and there's not even a tachometer. What kind of car is that? Hey, listen, I know that Lexus is right at the forefront of the hybrid technology, the way that it's coming into mainstream America. I wanted to love it. I wanted to like it. I'm just not convinced yet.
You take the bias of Dennis Pitzenbarger out of the picture, you put in all the tech gadgets, and you still get a 4.75. Curb Appeal's up next for the Lexus GS 450h, and I think that Lexus is finally doing what it needs to do, moving away from the bland sedan and moving towards the looks of a performance sedan.
I think you've touched on something there. The nice thing about these new generation Lexus automobiles is the fact that they are being more aggressive with lines. You can put a fender flare on anything, but if you make it look like it has a fender flare without actually creasing it or bolting something on, it's that little class factor that comes with it being a Lexus. Now, that aside, I think that they need to do a couple little changes. One thing is get rid of that extra little badge on the rocker. I mean, you might as well put some cross flags on the fender like an old Chevy.
Yeah, well, they are doing the right things. They're moving away from bland, moving towards aggressive. That we need to boost the score to 3.75. Performance is up next for the GS 450h from Lexus, and you made that 3.5-liter V6 with that high-output electric motor, and you got some great torque.
Do I have to start?
Yes, you might as well just go ahead and start now.
Oh, gosh. Okay, listen, before we get into it, before I start, I'll give you this. 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. When you mash the throttle, it's got a ton of power. Let's remember, electric motors, instant torque. There's no RPMs. Engines have a torque curve. It goes up to a certain RPMs and it drops off. Gasoline motors have that. Electric motors, instant full power. Now, set that all aside. I know that gas...
If you take the motor that it's got and you just set that all aside, that makes sense.
Can I go on?
Go ahead.
Okay, listen. You set all that aside, and what you get is two distinct advantages. You have the economical side, which is better fuel mileage, more cars sold in that kind of segment. You take away the emissions side or the ecological side. It has less emissions, less pollutants in the world.
Yeah, I can see all the bad points that he's about to get to.
I just don't like them. It's weird. I don't like the engagement. I know that it's a lot smoother than the original Hondas or Toyotas that they built in their smaller cars. I know that they've come a long ways. But there's something about it. Any car that doesn't have a tachometer and calls it a performance sedan, it's just goofy. I can't help it. Everybody else loves it. I don't know why I can't. I guess I'm just out on an island somewhere in the automotive world.
Well, you take this motor, you take the output that it gets. You would usually need a gas-guzzling V8 to get these numbers. Instead,
I like gas-guzzling V8.
Instead, you get 18 miles to the gallon in that V8. You get 28 miles to the gallon in this, and you get the same performance.
Maybe that's why I just drive a big truck.
Yeah, we'd have to give it a 4 on performance. Now we move along to the category that's synonymous with Lexus, and that's fit and finish. And my partner here is not going to be able to find any problems with this car. Am I right?
No.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, I can't. I want to just because I'm cynical. That's my job. I'm color and he's something play-by-play. I don't know how that works, but hey, listen. Toyota's built great vehicles for a very long time. Then they invented Lexus as a brand. Took it to another level so they could build even better cars. The thing about the Lexus is that it is a great car with great build quality, and unless you're really nitpicky and really comes down to finding just the little tiniest thing that you might find wrong with it, there isn't anything, and that's why it'll score good.
Yeah, there's some small ergonomic things like button controls in the middle or on the rear console, but overall this car scores beautifully. 4.5 from us for fit and finish. Finally, drivability for the GS 450h from Lexus. And when you mate everything like these silent hybrid operations, you talk about the great build quality and the interior materials, the performance features and all of that, I would have to rate it high, but now Dennis is going to talk and probably drop the score on you.
Hey, listen, I'm just talking about because I'm tall and I'm fat. I don't fit. I'm sorry. A $55,000 vehicle at 6'2", I should be able to sit in it without sitting like this. I'm sorry. I was all scrunched up in the front seat. Why is it that Lexus has this GS body that has all the beautiful attributes of a luxury sedan, and I can go down to the Toyota store and buy a Camry and sit straight up in it like I'm supposed to? That's the one reason I'm going to knock the score.
Well, for normal-sized human beings, it would be a pretty good score, but for people like Dennis, 3.5.
Okay, let's recap the scores for the Lexus GS 450h. For Q Factor, Dennis and Ian gave it a 4.75. Curb Appeal, a 3.75. In Performance, a 4.0. Fit and Finish, a 4.5. And finally, Drivability, a 3.5. The total for the 2007 Lexus GS 450h was 20 out of a possible 25. Still to come, we're going to visit IPD for our In the Pit segment. And when fuel returns, we'll have our second behind the wheel, the 2007 Honda Accord EX.